Hello, good morning. Morning, everyone. Sorry, I do know that you are muted, everyone, at the moment, and we're just going to give it another minute while we let everybody in through the lobby. But welcome and happy Friday, because I do realise it will probably be an even better Friday for most people with it being payday. So it's quite exciting, and the weekend is amongst us, so which is great. I can see lots more people coming into the lobby. Just going to give it a couple more minutes. I hope you've all got a nice cup of tea and ready for this absolutely amazing information session that Heather's going to be doing for us, the Women's Taster session. I know I, for one, am very excited. Lots of people. Yeah, I'll just give it one more minute and then we will make a start. Yep. Great to see so many familiar faces. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. And just as people are joining, and I'm going to give it a couple more seconds, but you will have just seen a poll pop up within your screen. As soon as you've filled in the poll, that will disappear so you can see the full presentation that we're going to be delivering. And just to make everybody aware, you will be on mute, but you can unmute yourself throughout the session. So if you do want to interact, please unmute yourself and feel free to have a chat with us. If you can put any questions that you have in our chat box as well. We've got people monitoring the chat box. So as we're going along, they will hopefully be answering your questions. But if it gets to the end and we've not quite reached all of the questions, we will answer them by the end of today. Just also as well to let you know, we are recording this session. And so just to give you a heads up, as it's being recorded and it may be published on some of our channels. So please feel free to have your cameras on, join in, but just be aware that we are recording this session and it could be published on our channels. Right, I actually need to do the poll myself, so I'm not doing it very well at the moment so that I can get it gone. So hello everyone and welcome to our taster session for Women Plus in Leadership. Today we will be looking at the psychology of motivation and reframing imposter syndrome. My name's Stacey Rowe. I'm one of the customer solution managers working here at InStep. I've worked for InStep now just under 4 years and worked for a previous training provider for 27 years. My role is to work with our clients looking at their learning and development needs using our apprenticeship programs and also our corporate commercial training offerings as well. I'm here today to facilitate this program, but also you can probably tell I'm perimenopausal at the moment, so please bear with me. I am suffering from imposter syndrome, brain fog, everything, anything that's thrown at me, anxiety. So I'm hoping that Heather can work her absolute magic on me today. Heather.
Hello everybody, it's lovely to see you all today. So as Stacey said, I'm Heather and I'm going to be running you through this session. I am the Learning and Development Specialist here at InStep and one of our trainers and facilitators. So this is what I love to do, run these workshops. We delve into the psychology of things, we look at theories, models, but more importantly, we also look at practical solutions. So you're going to be leaving here today with some practical tips that you can use right now to help yourselves, your teams, your colleagues, friends, family, everybody. Well, so I can't wait to get stuck in.
Thanks, Heather. So a bit of a session overview. We designed our Women Plus programs. They're designed by women and they are for women, with over 500 people who have benefited so far from our programs. Just some statistics on our achievements so far. So we've had 100% pass rate, 87% of that have gained a distinction, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely outstanding. The goal for doing these programs was to empower women to lead with confidence, knowledge, and be able to influence. We all know within learning and development, it's quite difficult when you're trying to demonstrate any return on investment to the business and the impact that learning's had. We help to transform challenges into opportunities through our Women into Leadership programs, so you can have measurable growth and impact. Quotes from Gartner for the business case for diversity. Diverse leadership teams are 21% more likely to outperform competitors. McKinsey quoted, top quartile for gender diversity leads to 25% higher profitability. Just some great thought-provoking things there. Heather, I'm going to pass over to you, darling.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so today's session, as much as I know we're on 210 people, which is just absolutely amazing, and I know we've got people in rooms together, I want this session to be as interactive as possible. So as we said, we've got people manning the chat for anything you put in there, but as we go through, please put your hand up, unmute yourself, share your thoughts, ideas, because really importantly with these sessions, and you'll see this when you come onto your apprenticeship, they are not death by PowerPoint. So it is not someone like me talking at you for however many hours. They're very experiential, put my teeth back in, and really engaging. So please do get involved as much or as little as you like. So as I said, if you feel more comfortable popping your answers in the chat, do so that way. Or I'd love for you to get involved and answer my questions. Unmute yourself. So my first question for everyone today, and as Stacey said, we're delving into the psychology of motivation, and we're also going to look at reframing imposter syndrome. So with that being said, my first question for everybody on the call today is, what is motivation? What is motivation? And you should, if I've done this properly, on your screen have a word cloud pop up where you can put your responses in. Now, this is going to create a fantastic visual for us of everybody's ideas of what motivation is and what it means for them. You can add as many responses as you like. Oh, we've got some fantastic ones coming through already. So we've got drive, a desire to achieve, that inner drive, really important, a desire to take action. And I love these words that we're using, that desire and drive, energy, a reason to focus, a personal drive, fantastic, enthusiasm to achieve. Oh, I love that one. Excited about the day, yeah, that's really important, isn't it? Drive to do things. Okay, so we've got some fantastic responses there of what motivation is. And as you can see on the screen, I've put a little definition there for you too. So motivation is the internal state that helps us and individuals move forward. It's how we really interact and engage with goal-directed behaviour. Now, it's often understood as a force that explains why people, or animals as well, initiate, continue, or terminate a certain behaviour at a particular time. It's really complex, and that's what we're going to delve into today. Because my second question is motivation always there? And I'd love to hear from someone. So if you can pop your hands up, I should be able to see it. Is motivation always there? Can we rely on it? Elspeth.
I don't mind kicking us off. There's almost two questions there, because I think it is always there, but I don't think we can always rely on it, because I think sometimes it's kind of internal, maybe in hibernation for a period of time until you find it or are able to bring it to the front again. That would be my response.
I love that response, and really important. It's always there, but we might need to access it. It might be a little bit deeper down some days. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elspeth. Joanna.
Similar to Elspeth, really. I was just going to say, I think it's, for me, certainly, I need a spark of inspiration sometimes, especially when it's not sort of apparent. But then once that happens, I find everything else kind of flows from it.
Yeah.
It's just getting that initial spark of inspiration to motivation sometimes.
And we've definitely got a flow there, haven't we, from that spark of inspiration to the motivation. And I know someone popped in the chat that really stood out to me. It needs nurturing and it's a fluid state. I love that. And I'm going to come to Nagy, and I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
It's Betty.
Betty, oh,
Yeah.
I've done it the wrong way round, haven't I?
It's
Silly me,
fine.
Betty.
It happens quite a lot, so don't worry. I think quite to the others, but also I don't think it's always there. I don't think it's always there. But I agree about the spark. You need that spark to trigger it, and then find how you can find it. And if it's where you are or what you do is not the thing that motivates you, then you should go and find what sparks it. And yeah, I agree on the nurturing, but it's sometimes not that easy, I think. So you just need to find where it is. But it's not always there for me at least.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I don't think it's always there for me either. And I think sometimes a better word to use, because motivation's a fickle friend, isn't it? It's very fickle. It's determination. We're not motivated every day to get up and brush your teeth, but you do it every day because it's a habit. So what we're going to look at today is some theories and tools that we can use to help with that spark, to help initiate the motivation, even when it either isn't there at all or when it's just a little bit deeper down. We've got to root for it and get it out. So theories are really important. And
I had a point. Sorry,
yes.
I had a point for the previous one, slightly different from what everyone's mentioned
Oh,
here.
amazing. Tell me.
I think motivation comes when, and I know some people have mentioned it's there and others have said it's not. I'm kind of going one level deeper. I think we have the motivation or experience the motivation for things that are aligned with our value system and what we want to achieve.
Definitely.
So I may be motivated to do some charity work, and others may feel less motivated to do so because, whatever I'm motivated about is more aligned to what I firmly believe in and my belief system is. Yeah, I just thought I'll put it out there.
Thank you so much, Pooja, because it's so important, isn't it, as leaders and especially as female leaders, that we are in tune with our values and what drives us. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I know we've got some other hands up. I'm gonna come to you for different points as well. I'm just wary of time, and I've already been told that I talk too much. Just as a heads up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to delve into some of the theories behind motivation. Because as part of an apprenticeship, we delve into knowledge, skills, and behaviours. Or as I like to think of it, know it, show it, live it. Your knowledge, skills, and behaviours. And within these workshops, this is your taster, so I'm pretending we're there. In these workshops, we delve into the knowledge. So we'll explore the theories, tools, models, techniques that we can apply to a plethora of different topics. Okay. And I love a good theory. I'm a huge nerd. I've got a background in psychology. I did my master's. Give me a theory, give me an essay to write, and I love it. But theories are useless if we don't know what to do with it. So if we can't apply that and think, okay, yes, we've looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's useless if it just remains an abstract concept. So what we're going to do today is we're going to delve into two motivational theories that the majority of people on this call have probably heard about before, but we're going to do something a little bit different with them, and we're going to put them into practice. So you can see on the screen, we've got a bit of a definition there of what a theory is and some examples. And I'm going to focus on the top two for you today. As I said, you've heard about these before, but I'm going to give you a different spin on them. and I'm going to give you a practical activity that we're going to delve into today, but that you can take away with you to use not only for yourself, to realise your own understanding of your motivations, but you can also use it with your teams, with your colleagues, with your managers, if we're doing our managing up. So, the first one is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this is an oldie but a goodie. And this theory was proposed in 1943 by a psychologist called Abraham Maslow. And in essence, this was a framework for understanding human motivation, our needs, our personal development. And Maslow suggested that people are driven to satisfy certain needs. Stacey.
Sorry, I think someone's just put in the chat that they can't see the slides.
Can't see the slides, Helen.
Helen.
Is anybody else have it? Oh, there we go. Press X.
I've got rid of it. I've moved it onto a bigger screen. It was my screen was too small to show it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks.
I can see the slides, but I can't put anything into the chat.
That'll be something. Was that Kate? Kate, that'll be something from your organisation.
No, somebody else in my organisation has been able to put stuff in the chat.
How strange. Well, don't.
But if it's
worry,
at my
Kate.
end, that's fine. It's not a problem.
I'm the same. I can't put anything on the chat, but that's okay.
Because
Let me look. I'll look into that in the background. We'll
Thanks,
continue. I'll look
Carl.
into that in the background. See if we can fix it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we've got Maslow here, and as I said, most people have probably heard of this before, but I'm going to give you a quick summary for my activity that we're going to do in a minute.
Sorry,
Now-
can I just put
Yeah.
in as well? I can't access the chat to put anything in either.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, Denise. We're going to look into it in the background, and then you can also put your hand up and tell me.
Yeah, could I possibly ask if we can have this presentation when it's finished as well?
We'll send it out to you.
Fantastic, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Now, within Maslow's pyramid, okay, you can see on the screen, we've got this hierarchy of needs. And he said that individuals need to fulfill those lower level needs before we can progress higher up the pyramid. At the bottom, we've got our physiological needs, things like food, water, warmth. We've then got security and safety needs. Once those are fulfilled, we move on to belonging, love, those social needs like relationships and friendships. Once we've got those, we then move on to esteem needs. And these are things like feeling accomplished, a sense of self, a self-confidence and belief. And then finally, the cherry on top of the cake, we've got self-actualization. And for Maslow, this is what everybody is striving towards. So it's that achieving your full potential, your individual outcomes as well. Now, when this was created in 1943, World War II was going on. So it was very cut and dry. Those physiological needs were just that: food, safety, water. But we can apply this when we look at the workplace. So, for example, it might be things like fair wages or comfortable working conditions. For those safety needs, it might be things like an actual safe physical environment or job contracts, policies in place. Belonging are things like collaboration, team building. If we look at esteem, it's those opportunities for career growth, recognition, constructive feedback. And then at the top, it's that creativity, isn't it, for self-actualization? Are we actually utilizing the development opportunities? Do they align with our roles and our individual strengths and passions? And Pooja, like you said earlier, our values as well are huge in 2025. So there we've got Maslow. I want you to think about that for a moment and start thinking about, what are your pros and cons? What advantages and pitfalls do you see with this model? Feel free to take some notes as well. Always encourage a good note. And then we're going to look at our second one in a minute. Helen, I'm going to come to you.
Thank you. I don't know why I had 3 hands raised
It's
there.
fine. The more hands, the better.
I really like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I really like the colours and the idea of it. But I have been having a lot of problems with this in my coaching course that I'm doing. Looking at it and trying to apply it to me, and just feeling like it comes from what I'd call the male gaze. It's written by a man, and I would disagree. You know, my esteem needs are not there, and you know, my physiological needs are not there. I do think that we all have the same needs, but I do think because of how sort of society is conditioning us, that sometimes what happens is that our awareness of those needs goes from a sort of almost an opposite trajectory for men and women. And I'm really generalizing there with putting us into two genders, because I realize it's not as straightforward as that. But I do feel as though that doesn't really, it's a useful model and it's really interesting and great concepts, but it certainly doesn't apply to even the majority of men or women or people. It's just one person's view, Maslow, I guess.
It is. And if we think that's such a good point, Helen, because actually, and you already, I'll pay you later. The activity we're going to do is looking at how this applies to us. Because he's put these things in a box. But everybody's safety, belonging, self-esteem needs, as you said, differ depending on the individual. And it also differs depending on where we're at in our lives as well. So I'm going to not take any more hands for now because I'm wary of time, and I'm going to look at the second model, okay? And this one is Herzberg's two-factor theory. Now, this one was created a little bit later, okay? Herzberg's two-factor theory. This one was in the 50s, and again, we've got another gentleman here. Frederick Herzberg used Maslow's hierarchy of needs to create his two-factor theory, and this one was developed exclusively for the workplace. And again, we've got to think, haven't we? What did the workforce look like in 1950? It was very male dominated. Everything was built again for males. So within the theory, he said that there were two key factors to influence workplace motivation and satisfaction. The first one are motivating factors, and we can see them here in this top box. And for Herzberg, he said that these are factors that drive job satisfaction, and they're related to the work itself. So for him, he said that they motivate employees to perform at their best when they are there. They drive motivation when we've got things like recognition, achievement, when the work itself aligns with what we need. That's when we feel the most motivated. It drives that sense of satisfaction. The hygiene factors, on the other hand, are the foundational elements of the workplace here. Now, this is a little bit different to motivating factors, because hygiene factors, when they're absent, so when they're not there, people are dissatisfied, okay? But when they are present, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to increase satisfaction and motivation. Now, again, with Herzberg, it's very restrictive. These are hygiene factors, these are motivating factors. But I would argue, for some people, we've got, you know, collaboration there, relationships as part of the hygiene factor. For some people, that drives motivation. It pushes them to feel more satisfied, more motivated. It isn't simply a hygiene factor. So the activity that I would like us to do today, and I want you to all get involved, okay, is we are going to use these two theories to map our own personal motivators. Taking this theory and putting it into practice. So in the chat, I am going to share a blank pyramid, okay? Now, if you can grab that from the chat, pop it onto a slide deck or pop it onto a Word document, or if you're not feeling that creative today, you can just do it as a list, okay? And what I would like you to do is draw that pyramid, or do what I did and steal one from Google, with those 5 sections. And what you're going to do is identify where you feel your needs are currently met or unmet in your role. And I'd like you to write a few notes in each section. Now, what I'm also going to do for you is give you some prompts, because I find it really important when we're delving into these theories, when we're doing these activities. I love a good prompt. So in the chat, I've put a prompt for each one for you. So you've got physiological, safety, belonging, and so on. So it might be asking yourselves questions like, do you feel comfortable with your work? Do you feel secure in your job, financially, emotionally? And we're going to do a little bit of self-reflection to delve into this so we can take the theory and make it relevant for us. So we're just going to do that. It's going to be about 60 seconds, so it's very quick, I know, but we'll share this with you so you can delve into it in more detail after the session. So that's step one. Now here, what's really important as well, for those needs, I'm not asking you to copy Maslow's for the point that Helen made. It's not the same for everybody. You're thinking about your motivations and what you need. Okay. Now, step two is we're now going to map in Herzberg's factors. So next to your pyramid or your first list, I want you to create a table, a column. Do it by paper as well if you want. I love a bit of old school paper. So next to your pyramid, have two columns, one for hygiene factors and one for motivators. So remember, our hygiene factors are the foundation. When they're there, that's good, great, we're motivated. But it doesn't drive motivation, it's just the necessities. And for your motivating factors, I'd like you to jot down all of the elements in your current role into those two sections. So either your motivating factors or your hygiene factors. What for you drives your motivation? What drives your satisfaction? And then on the other hand, for your hygiene, what are your non-negotiables? If they're not there, when do you feel dissatisfied? And what I'd also like you to do for me is evaluate their impact. So are there any gaps or challenges that you see? Okay, again, I know this is super quick and I promise in the workshops we have way more time to delve into this. I just want to give you a taster. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. How did you find that activity? There are no expectations for you to share anything personal, whatever you feel comfortable with. How did you find that activity in terms of plotting your own motivating factors? Oh, Monique, you found step two hard. You're in the right role, Elizabeth. That's amazing. Victoria, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, that's okay. I actually found it quite hard. I don't think I've ever reflected on what motivates me. And actually sitting for like a minute or two in silence, I think it links back to what someone said right at the start, and it actually links to values. So I actually think my role has to suit like my life, which is I need flexibility. I've got young kids. Like, how much do you trust me? How much do I trust my team? Like, that is essentially all I've written down. Like, the actual job I enjoy. So then the pieces that motivate me to do that better are the bits that go around that, if that makes sense.
It does, 100%, and thank you so much for sharing that. And if we think back to the evaluation and analysis of the theories, that's missing, isn't it? Because again, in the 50s, in 1943, the workforce was male dominated. So there's things on there that flexible working, being able to do the school run, having the flexibility to work from home, having the mental well-being as well be a really big part of the workplace now is so, so important. And then Holly, you said you found the Maslow's part easier to do than Herzberg. Yeah, it is. It is, Holly. It's ever shifting. It doesn't always stay the same, 100%. And not just organisational shifts. It could be it changes depending on where we are in our lives, where we are in our careers, especially as females. Those motivators, those values differ depending on where we are. So this we can do. No, I'm not telling you to do it every week, but it's a good if we're feeling a little bit lost. It's a nice point to just step back and ground ourselves in what motivates us as women, as human beings. Rebecca, I'm going to come to you. And then Nav, I'll come to you next.
Sorry, we're on
Hello.
mute. So I found it hard, but my job is perfect for me, but I suffer with ADHD.
Yeah.
So I need more. I need more motivation each day. I need to get my hands into something. So I'm always striving for it to give me that. I need that boost every day to keep me going. Yeah. Or I will just drop. But that's just me. So I'm always striving and I'll always want more, unfortunately. Yeah. So once I've done something, that's it. I need more.
It's not unfortunate though, is it, Rebecca? Because actually that's your self-actualization piece. You need that stimulation, that challenge, that push to feel accomplished. That's amazing.
Definitely.
And it's not a bad thing. It's an amazing thing. Thank you so much for sharing, Rebecca. Nav, I'm going to come to you next.
What I found was doing the Maslow was easier for me than the second part, but it was very interesting for me that in the hygiene section was mostly external factors.
Ooh.
And then when it came to what motivates me, it was pretty much more what makes me feel good and motivate me rather than things like pay or recognition, etc.
Do you know, I'm so glad you brought that up. So there are extrinsic versus intrinsic motivators, external and internal. So a lot of the time our motivating factors are going to be intrinsic. Feelings of, accomplishment, developing others, helping others. Whereas extrinsic are, like you said, normally those hygiene factors. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to come to you, Vicky, and then I'm going to come, Viv, sorry. I could just see the VI and I assumed. I'm going to come to yourself, Viv. Then I'm going to come to Susan and then we'll move on.
So when I looked at Maslow's, when I looked at the physiological side of it, sometimes burnout can affect, and I didn't realise that could be reflecting into Maslow, really. And then when I came to Herzberg, I have to be very much like Rebecca said before, I have to be fulfilled. And I'm always striving something different. So sort of bring things into my role outside of what is my normal role, just to keep me motivated.
Yeah. And again, remember, that isn't a bad thing.
Mm.
It's actually a superpower. Thank you so much for sharing. And then Suzanne, I'm going to come to yourself. There we go. It's not. I always say it's not a workshop without a technical difficulty.
Sorry. Yeah. So definitely Maslow. I actually really like Maslow, and as you say, you have to just keep on reapplying it. But it's the actual theory, even though the words might throw you off. So the physiological piece, the bottom, you know, that stuff is actually really, really important. And we can look at it very, very differently because we're here in a very well-developed environment. But if you take Maslow and you put it into another part of the world, that base, that bit at the bottom is, you know, you can't even think about self-actualization. It doesn't even exist. It's like, I need to feed myself, I need to feed my family. So I do think it's still applied, and I think it's non-gender specific. What I actually looked at, I mean, sort of, I don't know if it's hygiene or the other way around actually, because I can't remember. So one thing that steps out for me, so psychological safety is really important for me at the moment. I think that's more hygiene. And because as a woman, where I am in a menopausal state, you know, I've had some real months where, you know, you spoke to me 30 seconds ago and I can't remember what you said. You know, forget about brain fog. It's just, I can't remember. I literally can't remember the day before. And it's really in a work environment. I've been lucky enough to be able to have the right conversations with my line manager to say, this is where I'm at. And that psychological safety space at the moment is really important. Also, because I'm really enjoy what I do, love what I'm doing, but I'm thinking, well, I'm at a certain age now. You know, am I safe? You know, lots of people are younger than me. So psychological safety came out a lot for me. And then having that autonomy piece as well, that's always been a thing for me. So the motivation, autonomy is really important for me. So that all three things or theories do fit. But it's really strange. I sat and thought about it, I went, oh, do you know what's really important for me, that I'm not being judged for, you know, judged for who I am or where I am at the point in my life, and the fact that I literally have to write every single thing down because if I don't, it doesn't get done and it literally falls out. It just goes somewhere. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, but it's a really useful exercise.
Thank you so
really
much.
useful. I'm going to go back and look at it later actually.
And you can use it with your teams as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really useful.
Because I think it's like Victoria, you said, how often do we actually just stop and think about what motivates us? We don't. And it can be quite difficult. And especially, I know we saw in the chat lots of people and from the conversations there saying, I'm in the right job, it's amazing. There might be people sat on this call thinking, oh, actually, there are gaps. I didn't realise, you know, the reason I've been feeling this way is because of this. And it can be quite daunting as well, can't it? To do something like this. So thank you so much, everybody, for throwing yourselves into that. Okay, we're going to pop motivation to the side for a moment and we're going to look at our second topic. Now, this all ties in. We've talked about motivation, how it needs to align with our values. Psychological safety is key. Having the support of managers, teammates, colleagues, anybody, to be able to be your true authentic selves. And something that comes up a lot and something I struggled with this morning when I realised how many people were coming on this call is imposter syndrome. We've all felt it, haven't we? Imposter syndrome. Now, this was originally called imposter phenomenon. But imposter syndrome is that feeling that you're not good enough, that people figure it out, that you don't actually have a clue what you're talking about and you're just winging it. So again, we're going to delve into the theory. We're going to look at some stats, but more importantly, I'm going to give you a practical tool that you can use, again, for yourself, for others, for your coachees, Helen, coaching course, to help you not overcome imposter syndrome. Because we're going to look at this from a different perspective. You see a lot of people, trainers, LinkedIn, coaches, talking about overcoming imposter syndrome. And I disagree with this. And you're okay to disagree with me as well. Psychological safety. But I disagree. I don't think we need to overcome imposter syndrome. I think we utilize it as a strength. We reframe it. Because actually, the only reason you feel imposter syndrome is because you care. You want to do a good job. You want to push and challenge yourself. And a lot of our greatest weaknesses are actually our biggest strength. So today I'm not going to help you overcome imposter syndrome. I'm going to show you how you can turn that uncomfort into growth. Okay, so we've got some stats on the screen here, and these are quite shocking. Oh, actually, not really that shocking. And we're in this group. 75% of female leaders have experienced imposter syndrome at some point. Yes, and that's a fantastic book, isn't it? Amazing book. We've got 72% of women in the workplace compared to 63% of men. Now, that was quite shocking for me. I thought that was quite high from a male perspective. And something we also delve into in the course, yes, it's a women in leadership course, but we also delve into stereotypes and the other perspective as well. And we look at the importance of allyship, of psychological safety in the workplace, of sharing this knowledge with everybody, regardless of gender. And I wanted to look at a bit of a case study in Maya Angelou. Now, she is a legendary author, poet, civil rights activist, and she's openly acknowledged experiencing imposter syndrome despite her immense success. And she's reflected on this. And I think it's really powerful to look at someone, someone in those shoes and think, this is something that everybody feels. And she said that I've written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out. Because even the most accomplished professionals, and normally the most accomplished professionals and people, are the ones that feel like a fraud. And it's important to admit that self-doubt. It's important because these feelings persist, they're uncomfortable, they can stop us from growing. But actually, we can utilize it to grow, because her self-doubt never stopped her from publishing it anyway, from making a difference. Self-doubt's normal. It's a sign, those imposter feelings are a sign that we're pushing the boundaries, that we're striving for growth and success. Now, within imposter syndrome, there are actually 5 types of imposter syndrome. And fantastically, this is from Dr. Valerie Young. And she's a renowned expert on imposter syndrome, a best-selling author. She's a speaker on this subject. And she delved into imposter phenomenon and wrote a book that I'd 100% recommend called The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women. And it sheds a light a little bit deeper into imposter syndrome and those strategies to normalize and reframe it as a part of natural growth. We all have unique strengths and values. We're not supposed to know everything. We're not supposed to do it all. That's why we have teams and people around us. And we've got those 5 types that you can see on the screen. So we've got the perfectionist that set extremely high standards for themselves, and you feel inadequate because the expectations you set are too high. We've got the superwoman, or man, I will say, who believes that they need to excel in every role they take on in life, not just work. We've got the expert who knows everything and feels ashamed when they don't. We've got the soloist who thinks that all of their work must be accomplished alone and they refuse to take credit if they've received any kind of assistance. They always give that credit and recognition to somebody else. And then finally, we've got the natural genius. And they feel that everything must be handled with ease, otherwise it's not natural talent. So we've got those 5 different sections here. And what we're going to do today is something that I love to do, and I think it's so powerful. It's called cognitive restructuring. And it's a technique that we actually use in cognitive behavioural therapy. And it's where we identify those challenging negative patterns and we reframe them. So what we're going to do today, everybody, is restructure and view imposter syndrome as a strength. So what I would like you to do is, and again, another activity for you to take away, and something that I use with my groups, with my coachees, is the thought, feeling, action activity. So on a piece of paper, You're going to note down the situation. So what brought on these feelings of imposter syndrome? It might be being praised at work, as an example. You're then going to think about, okay, what was my automatic response? And this is our negativity bias, those limiting beliefs, that imposter syndrome that creeps in. And it might be, I don't deserve the recognition. And then the most important part, I'd like you to note down your response. So I want you to work through those thoughts, those emotions and behaviours, and actually think about, okay, I think I don't deserve this, but actually I worked really hard on the project and the recognition is well deserved. It's well earned. Now, cognitive restructuring, the act of reframing it and turning it into a positive, helps us reframe imposter syndrome. Now, I'm not promising you a quick fix. Just because we do this, you're not going to go away and no longer have imposter syndrome. But the act of doing this again and again, noticing and being more self-aware of the feelings and thoughts we have, and then reframing them, writing them down, rewriting them, it's life-changing. It honestly is. It takes practice, it takes work, it can be frustrating, but reframing them, you teach your brain to think differently. Okay. Now I am wary of the time because time flies, doesn't it? It really does fly when you're having fun. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to take this away, and as I said, we'll share this with you so that you've got all of these activities to do with your teams, with yourself. But what I'd like you to have a think about just for a moment for me is one action that you'd like to take away. What are you going to put into practice from the learning in this really short, we should do them for hours, shouldn't we? This really short taster session. What one thing would you like to take away based on what we've discussed? I'll take a couple of responses from people, and then Stacey's probably looking at me telling me we need to move on. So pop your hand up, let me know, what are you going to do? Kate.
Thing that I'd be really interested in taking away is how do we support the younger women coming into the organisation to make sure that they don't end up in kind of the similar position that people of my age and my generation are in. So what can we do differently as role models for women in leadership roles for the new people coming through?
Do you have any ideas, Kate?
I think we absolutely need to be looking at, I do a lot with NLP and reframing, and I think we absolutely need to be looking at the terminology and the way that we ask people to do things, and the way that we then support people in where they maybe have succeeded things, but maybe they need development in other areas. And I think the terminology we use in those performance meetings, in even just when we ask them to do something, that's hugely important for the way people view their input into something and what potential they have. So I do think that's where we need to be concentrating a lot of our stuff, but we need to be starting it really early on. I would do it in schools, but
yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, from nursery all the way up, I would be doing it. And something that I've done in the last year, and I have found it really useful, I have eradicated the word just from my vocabulary.
And sorry's my one.
Yeah. And I'm working hard at the moment on, instead of saying, yeah, no problem, and doing the, you're welcome. Yeah, I went out of my way to do something for you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
As opposed to just going, yeah, no bother. That's okay. Yeah. But getting rid of just has made a massive difference. So even with, like, you go somewhere with the kids and you're watching them do something and somebody says, oh, why are you here? Oh, I'm just watching my son, or I'm just a mom. I'm just no, I am here doing something, and I'm very positive about it. And I think we need to start training our young women coming into business that they need to be positive about what they're offering as well.
I'm going to share something else with you that I do a lot with my coachees, and I get them to keep a success inventory. So any little win you've had, write it down, keep a note of it.
Yeah.
And then if it's great for one-to-ones, but also for yourself, if you're having times of doubt, you've got your evidence. You've got all of your evidence of the amazing things you've done. And taking it a step further, if you get an email, you know, someone saying thank you or giving you some good feedback, keep it. Have a folder for positive feedback, and anything you get, put it in there, and it just builds up your evidence to prove yourself wrong.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I know I've got a colleague on this call who does that, and she's great at that. And I'll give her a bit of a shout out because she's very positive and she does keep these things. So we need to be doing some of that in the rest of the team as well.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Kate. And I'm going to come to Jennifer.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Sorry, I was on mute for a second.
Oh, don't apologise. Remember, sorry is not in the vocabulary.
Yeah, good point. I just wanted to say that last point you mentioned was really good about writing the successes down. I did something similar, and I think you just lose sight sometimes of your achievements because we're so busy with the day-to-day, and when you reflect and you take that time. But the other thing I wanted to mention was I think that exercise that we just did on the imposter syndrome, like what was the situation, what was the internal, I just written something down and it was so simple, but it made me feel so much better straight away, because I thought like, oh, well, what could be a situation like if I don't know the answer to something in a meeting when I'm on the spot, then that internal thought might be, oh, you should have known that, you know, that means, you know, the imposter syndrome creeps in. But then actually the response should be, well, it's an opportunity for development. I don't know that, so I'm going to go and find that, and that will make me better. And just even sometimes you just don't think of it. So when I've just written that down and thought it, I was like, I instantly feel like I've made myself feel better. So it was simple but really, really useful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And I always think as well, if you think, okay, what would I think if somebody else did this, especially in a meeting if you don't know the answer? If someone else asked, you'd think they were curious, you think they were taking the initiative and being proactive. So that's another thing, is thinking, okay, if this was someone else, what would I say to them?
Yeah.
Because we're a lot kinder to other people than we are to ourselves.
100%, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. And then have we got time for one more? I'm looking at Stacey, see if I'm allowed. One more. Okay, final one. Jacqueline?
Hiya, yeah, I was just kind of building on the thought about removing just from the vocabulary, but also around being kinder to other people. So I work in facilities management, and one day I could be speaking to a CEO, the next minute I'm speaking to a cleaner in a hospital. And when I ask that cleaner what they do, it's always, I'm just a cleaner.
Yeah.
And I always have to remind them that without cleaners in our hospitals, everyone would be dying. Their job is incredibly important, and they shouldn't be saying, I'm just a whatever they are.
That's so important. And they say, don't they, you can tell a lot about a person about how they treat people. Not the senior person in the room, but the waiter, the cleaner. That's the most important thing, because there's no such thing as just. The world wouldn't work if we didn't have everybody in it. And that ties back in as well, Jacqueline, too. And I'm so sorry, because I forgot who it was who was talking about how actually we need, it was Kate, it was you, how we need to pass this on, don't we, to younger females, people at school, our daughters, our sisters, our friends. These are the conversations that we need to have. So I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for getting stuck in, for sharing your ideas and thoughts. It means so, so much. And I hope to see a lot of you on the courses in the future. So I'm going to hand back over to Stacey.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Heather. I know personally I found that so useful, so informative, and sharing it with everybody on here, it resonates with me so much. And
thank you, Stacey. I want to say thank you for being so open and honest at the beginning, because I know it's not easy.
No, it's definitely not easy. And I was celebrating the tiniest of win, but it was a win, not waking up at 4 o'clock to give myself a mental beating this morning. I slept through. So I'm having my own little wins here, which is amazing. And I think as well, Kate, just going back to what you mentioned about it, obviously passing it on to our next generation female leaders, the programs, our female versions of our programs are there as well for our aspiring leaders to build people up and give them the confidence to apply for that role. So we do our level 3 and level 5 women plus programs for aspiring leaders. So please obviously speak to your account manager and they will take you through what that looks like and how we can develop their confidence within leadership skills. So the programme has been to support organisation with boosting leadership diversity, enhancing your team performance. Oh, just on that as well, you've probably seen another poll that's just popped up. It's just popped up on my screen. If you want to be completing that, as I'm just taking you through the end of this session part. Improve talent retention, build a career pathway for your high performers, champion diversity and inclusion, and drive impactful change as well. So our leadership level 3 and 5 programs will take you through all of those. So the next slide. So after this session, I know I've seen in the chat there, some people are saying, will we send out the slides? Yes. Following this session, you will receive an automated email with the link to the session recording, and your InStep account manager will share the session slide deck with you. And please reach out to your account manager to arrange a call to discuss how our programs can deliver value to you and your women leaders and your future women leaders as well. Whether it's people, team leader roles moving up to wanting to take the next senior leadership role, absolutely, just we've got them available and we'd love to chat more with you about that. So now we'll move on to any questions. The floor is yours. We know you're not shy. But genuinely, pardon.
Said it makes my job so much easier. Just thank you again for getting involved, because I hate it when it's just me talking. Betty.
Hello, yes. Thank you. Just maybe from the practical point of view, because I really enjoyed the session. I loved the whole content, and I think you do amazing work, and I think the program looks fantastic. But maybe if you can say, because there's loads of other providers out there as well who's offering similar programs or you know, similar concepts. Why to pick you guys? I think that would be good to know from your point of view.
I think from my point of view, it's the people. Nobody has people like we do. And I know I'm biased, 100%. It's conscious bias. But for us, we're people focused. It's learner first. And all of the trainers, facilitators, account managers, everybody that we have is doing this because we care. You're not just a number when you join us. You're a person.
Well, thank you so much.
Let me just go to my Kerry.
I'll put myself back on camera. Okay.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
You know that I know a lot about this particular course and the success that I've had with it as an apprenticeship ambassador in a previous role. So mine is more just around logistics, like what's happening now with your enrolment structure, and how can people get involved if they want to enroll, or if they're thinking about their teams or their organisation.
I'm going to hand over to you, Stacey, for this one.
Yeah, perfect. I think, Kerry, if you speak to your account manager, because we can run closed cohorts just for your organisation. We run open cohorts as well. There are benefits to both. We have just done a new structure to our onboarding process. So we now run, it goes from stage 1 enrolment.
Kerry.
It is really streamlined.
Right.
So we do stage 1 that then moves on to stage 2. So stage 1 is all about eligibility, but the learners' career aspirations. What are they, when coming onto this program, what are they wanting to get out of that? What's their aspirations? Where are we taking them? And then move on to stage 2, which goes through all of the initial assessments, the skills radar, to really make sure that we have got enough room to stretch and grow their skills, knowledge and behaviours in that area, and it's fit for purpose for that learner's development.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really delve into that as part of our onboarding, and the information sessions that the sales team do up front to make sure they're making that informed decision on, can I commit to that program? Is it the right program for me at the right level, etc.
Okay, I'd like to know, Heather and Carl, I know you're both on the call, and obviously we did this, you were my EPA project around women in leadership. So, but if you want to reach out to me, I'm just scoping options at the moment, and I know obviously you were brilliant for delivery in my last job, but I'm very new into my new job, so we're not there yet. But I do kind of want to explore the art of the possible.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll pick up, Kerry. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
It's lovely to see you as well.
Yeah, you too.
And I'm going to come to, and again, I apologise for pronunciation, because you tell me, because I really hate getting people's names wrong.
I'm going to assume that's myself, and it's
It is.
pronounced Kim.
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 Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's Welsh.
Oh,
So I don't panic. Whatever you'd have said, I'd have heard before. So that's fine. I just wanted to double check. Obviously, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm working the NHS, and everything we do has to go through the Salisbury framework. So I just wanted to double check the programs that you run. When you send out the information packs that are going to come after this, are they going to be? Is it possible for you to tell me which frameworks they're aligned to, which standards they're aligned to, so that I can put that as well? Because like I said, everything we do has to go through Salisbury. We're not allowed to kind of
just to give you a quick overview, our level 5 is CMI's level 5 operations manager standard, and then our level 3 again is CMI's team leader level 3.
Okay,
is the standard that we go to.
I assume you're not doing the level 7 because we're still waiting for the feedback from the consultation. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim, we do work with a number of NHS organisations, trusts, and we've contract through Salisbury's with them, who are doing Women into Leadership programmes with us at the moment.
That's great. Thank you.
Thomas.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
So also, thank you for the lovely talk. It's been genuinely very insightful of kind of the different structures in place. But I just wanted to kind of inquire, because I know in the company I work for in AQA, we do have the level 3 and the level 5.
Yeah, I'm the trainer for the level 5.
Oh, fair enough. But it'd be nice to know if you do kind of like company specific talks, because I know it'd be nice to have kind of the female kind of colleagues in AQA having that kind of exposure and that chance to be kind of them women in leadership.
We do indeed. It's definitely something we can get set up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as part of our closed cohorts, we speak with our apprenticeship team there, and the modules that we're working through, if they want to have guest speakers within your organisation. So if we're doing a closed cohort for your organisation and we're running a module that's related, they can actually bring in guest speakers from that organisation, female speakers that we can bring into the sessions as well to make it relevant to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Because hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to be joining the employee forum. So it's something I definitely want to kind of put across more to the company wide to get that kind of more recognition, really.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I am just very conscious of time because we have gone 3 minutes over, which is only 3 minutes for us, Heather, which I'm surprised at.
Do you know, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That's a win. That's going in my success inventory.
Me too. To be fair though, Heather, the session's been that good. I could have stayed on all day, to be honest. I would have stayed on all day, but I realised people have got other meetings to jump off to, an important, very busy work to do. So thank you so much for your time. As I've said, we'll send out the presentation, we'll send out the recording. we will reach out to you. Please reach out to us. You can see we're quite a friendly bunch. We don't bite. Let us know if there's anything that we've not covered and discussed and you've got something that you want to raise or ask about. Like I say, we love to talk. Please reach out. Yeah. Great stuff.
Thank you so much again, everybody. You're all amazing.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Take care.
Thank
See
you.
soon.
Take care.
Have a wonderful
Bye.
weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, you
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
I love the reframe exercise, Heather. Thank you. Do you think now's the time for me to sing my song?
And do your interpretive dance, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I'm in a
Wait, but
windy tree.
we all know you can rap.
Well, that was my song. My name is Stacey.
I'd clear a room if I started singing. It's bad.
Oh, no one, Heather, is as bad as me. No one. You should see the kids in the car. Stacey, please don't. Please don't.
Right. I reckon we could probably jump off now, couldn't we?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
See you
Enjoy
later.
the rest
Thank
of your
you
days,
both
guys.
so
Take
much.
care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.